Alright, well, Apple just officially began its 3-day Mac event. Or is it a site refresh? I mean, it wasn't live streamed, but they did have an announcement last week where they said that Monday morning they were gonna start announcing new Macs. We got a 10-minute little keynote presentation on the website with drone footage and Apple people talking on camera. Does that count as an event? I mean, technically the iPhone event, while it is live stream, it's not technically live. Ugh, Josh, what are you doing? Let's just begin. Alright, so in case you missed the little 10-minute Apple event, it's mostly rehashed information about Apple Intelligence. There's really not much new or exciting information in that video other than John Turnus kickstarting the video by saying there will be 3 major Mac announcements this week. Today is the first one, of course, with the new iMac. Blink and you'll miss it, but apparently the colors are a little bit different than before. It's very slight, but yes, it's the exact same color palette as before, just this year they're a little bit lighter tones, and there's an M4 chip on the inside. You know, that's the big one. I think what's honestly more interesting, though, is the fact that they have switched over the Magic Keyboard, the Magic Trackpad, and the Magic Mouse all to USB-C, and yet nowhere on the website will they show a single image of it. Trust me, I checked. I was scrolling all through this morning like, can I just get a singular image from the website on the Apple Store, from the order page, from the iMac lineup page? Can I just see a single image somewhere that just shows that little USB-C port on the side of the Magic accessories? Nope. Apple doesn't want you to think about ports, I guess. They just want you to know that, hey, the new iMac has USB-C accessories, but just trust us, it's there, we promise. So, very bizarre to not show them, but yes, you can order them separately. You don't have to get a colorful Magic Keyboard or mouse or trackpad exclusively through the iMac. You can get a white or black pair through the Apple Store page, although we're not seeing anywhere to get the Magic Keyboard without the numeric keypad. That's a little bizarre. That one's a tad more expensive. And one thing that Apple did not change, aside from, of course, the amazingly beautiful and superior charging method of the Magic Mouse having to roll over on its back. No, that's still the same as before, but also, if you want the black Magic accessories, it's gonna be $20 more. It's a premium just to get them in black. Even if it's USB-C, there's no change there because European Union doesn't have any price gouging laws when it comes to color finishes. But as far as the iMac is actually concerned, I mean, I suppose it's nice that they've officially doubled up on the memory, so 16 gigs of RAM is now standard. They've also added a 12 megapixel center stage camera, which immediately made me go, wait, the iMac didn't have the center stage camera? What happened? That's been around for years, and we had the M3 iMac launch last year, and apparently that didn't get the center stage camera. That was just one of those things I thought it had, and apparently it didn't. But they've also now added the really ridiculous and, in my opinion, unnecessary nano-textured glass option for the iMac, an extra $200 just to make it a little more frosty, but again, this thing's got white bezels and a chin, so I don't think there's a ton of people doing intense color correction on this machine, but I guess if you want it, it's there. And I should give credit where credit is due. The base model is still the same price as before, $1,300 starting, and still 2 USB-C ports on that base model. If you want 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back, you're gonna have to upgrade to the $1,500 model. And also, by the way, that base model with just 2 USB-C ports still does not come with gigabit Ethernet by default. That's a $30 upcharge just to add the little Ethernet plug to the charge brick. Still funny and hilarious to me that the iMac has a charge brick, but gigabit Ethernet is standard if you spec up for the $1,500 model. And even though they doubled up on the RAM, they did not double up on the storage. So on both the $1,300 and $1,500 model, still 256 gig by default, which is a little disappointing to me that like my 16 Pro Max has the same default storage configuration as the iMac, but hey, I guess it's supposed to be kind of like the family computer, the home iMac. It's colorful, it's cool, it's poppin'. But if we're not supposed to care about these types of specs, how are you supposed to get me to care about the M4 chip, which is mostly, of course, just a performance upgrade? I mean, 80% of their little 10-minute keynote this morning was talking about Apple Intelligence features, but all of the intelligence features that they talked about are still available on not just the M3 iMac, but also the M1 iMac from like 3 years ago. So it feels a little bit weird for them to be like, yeah, you know, it's just a fun, colorful iMac, but also Apple Intelligence, and also the neural engine is so much faster than before. They're really grasping at straws on this one, because on the newsroom page, they only compare it to the M1 iMac, not the M3 iMac, probably because they know that comparison would not be very impressive. And also, on the product page, they straight up ask you to compare it to Intel-based iMacs, which haven't come out for like 5-6 years, and they're like, wow, this one is 6 times faster than the best-selling Intel iMac. And I'm like, Apple, you haven't sold an Intel iMac in forever, but you can pre-order these things today and they will start shipping and delivering on November 8th. And while the iMac and the announcements themselves are not that exciting, it is nice to get some confirmation from Apple that yes, there will be 2 more announcements this week, likely tomorrow, because that's what John Turnus said in the keynote, and then Wednesday's probably the last one. It could really go either way, but I think there's a decent chance we're gonna get MacBook Pros tomorrow because there's not really a redesign, it's just kind of a spec boost, but it should be a fairly substantial spec boost because the MacBook Pros are also going to be offering the M4 Pro and M4 Max chips, which of course are going to be like the fastest chips ever in a laptop. And I think they want to save the Mac Mini for last, personally, because that's the only one that's getting a bit of a redesign. Not only is it a spec bump, but it'll also look very different, so I think they're kind of saving the best for last, but it also gives us a good indication of the specs to come throughout the week, because we've now seen the iMac did not get a price bump, which is excellent because it got better features and better camera and better specs and everything, so hopefully that means the Mac Mini and the MacBook Pros also will stay at the same price that they currently are, and that they will all come with 16 gigs of memory by default. That was a rumor for the MacBook Pro, but even those leaked unboxings from the Russians didn't necessarily confirm if that was on the base model or not. Now, after seeing the iMac drop, I'm fairly confident that the MacBook Pro will also have 16 gigs of memory by default, as will the Mac Mini, but seeing that Apple is still comfortable shipping them with 256 gigs of storage on, you know, a $1,500 Mac, which is a little ridiculous to me, I think that also means that while the Mac Mini might not get a price hike, it will probably still ship with 256 gigs by default, which is a bummer, but hey, at least you won't have to spec up for the RAM this time. What do you guys think of the new iMac colors? What do you think of the spec bumps? USB-C accessories, are you mad that they're still charging extra for black and that you can't buy them without the numeric keypad? And also, my final question is, do we count this as an event? I mean, Jaws sent out kind of like an announcement. He like had animations on his tweet that kind of looked like invites, and then this morning at 8 a.m. is when the refresh officially happened, Pacific time. There's like a 10-minute pre-recorded event, but again, the live Apple events aren't really live either. Those are pre-recorded, they're just broadcasted, so you can't skip ahead at 2x speed. Is this the future for Apple? It was all shot on iPhone, by the way, but are they not going to have like live broadcasts anymore? Are they just going to do these kind of like site refreshes or site events type thing? I don't know. What do you prefer? What makes more sense to you moving forward? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.